Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the First Class, Second Place podcast. I'm your host, Jason Enrique, and with me today we have another very special guest. Now, the interesting thing about this guest, I want to say, how should I say it? There's some people out there that are destined to be stars, and then there's people that are just born a star. And I think it's what's fitting to this guest that we have right here, and that's what we call her around here. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to none other than Starborn. How you doing, Starborn?
Hi, thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you for coming on. Now,
Yes.
Now here's the funny thing, and like I love this podcast community, and I'm not a competition or a rivalry with anybody, but I want to give a big shout out to my boy Joe Fucarino from Therapy Without a Degree. So
Yes.
the funny thing is that I actually asked you to be on my podcast first, and then a following day, as I understand, is he asked you, but his availability was a little bit more open than mine, and I also took a break from everything podcast related for the month of November, so he basically snatched you up first. But that was a great episode. I definitely recommend everybody check out that episode of Therapy Without a Degree with Starborn here. It got spicy, it got fire, and just a little bit of a cross promo. But either way, thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Shout out to Joe, by the way. Thank you for having me on your show.
You're very welcome. All right, so let's start it off in the beginning. So where does the story of Starborn begin? Like, where were you born and raised?
So I was born in the beautiful island of Dominican Republic.
Hey, que lo que?
Shout out to all my Dominicans out there. Dominicani de pura cepa. Growing up in Dominican Republic, I really didn't grow up there because I came here at 2 years old.
Okay.
My father first came here and established a job. Then he brought me and my mother over. And, I was basically raised here in America. But we would always take, the trips to DR every summer.
Right.
And, visit all of our family there. So Starborn was born in Dominican Republic.
Hey, que lo que?
Que lo que?
Are you a Mangu fan, obviously?
Oh, my God, I love
Okay,
mango.
so I don't know if this is
love
going to affect our friendship, but I actually am not a fan of it.
No way.
No, I'm sorry, I'm not.
How?
It's all about texture for me. I'm more of a mofongo kind of guy.
Pero mofongo and mango is like the same thing.
I understand that, but like I said, it's a texture thing. I'm a weird person where it's almost like I love baked potato, I love French fries, but I don't like mashed potatoes. And I don't like tomatoes, but I like marinara sauce, I like ketchup, I like sun-dried tomatoes. So I have a very weird palate.
Wow,
I just don't know what it is.
You're like picky.
You know what? I still am a little picky, but when I was younger, oh my God, it was so much worse.
Yeah.
But now I've gotten to that point now where like if I say that if I don't like something, then I've actually could say that because I've tried it and I didn't like it. Because now I'm a lot more open. However, interesting fact about me, and I never shared this on the show, I can't believe it, but I've been on this earth for 37 years.
Me too.
Okay. What's your birthday? If you
January 26th.
Okay, so it's coming up.
Yeah.
My birthday's May 3rd.
Okay,
All
nice.
right, so I don't know much about astrology or anything like that, but I'm not as stubborn as people think.
Taurus,
sorry.
yeah.
But I've been on this earth for 37 years, and I actually talked about this with my boy Joel earlier today, that in this 37 years on being on this earth, I have never had a Big Mac or a Whopper a day in my life.
You're so blessed because that's processed food and you don't even want that in your life. Like, I'm telling you, that is such a great choice. Like,
Yeah,
that processed meat ain't even good for you.
I know, but there's just something about it that doesn't even look appetizing. Like there's like three sections of bread, and then I'm not a fan of a Thousand Island dressing, and I hate onions. That's like the one food that I despise.
I was gonna ask you that if you liked onions.
Oh my God,
nobody
no.
likes onions.
No, I despise it.
I love onions.
Matter of fact, I love mushrooms, and I know a lot of people love onions and hate mushrooms. I'm the
hate
opposite.
mushrooms.
You see, there we go. That's
Unless
further
they're
proof
like
right there.
shrooms. But I actually never tried shrooms, so let me stop talking shit.
I've never tried it either, but
I'm going to though. Like, I'm probably gonna do it for my birthday and get like a trip and probably write like the world's greatest poem.
the only thing that I'll say is that I've never done it either, but it's never too late. Anyway,
let's do a shroom party.
Oh, hey.
Put it on a podcast.
Yo, I hope the feds ain't watching right now.
The podcast shroom edition and just like record and see what happens. That would be a freaking
Yo, Steve,
show.
you down for that party?
You down?
Yeah. By the way, I just realized that I'm such a hack host because I forgot to mention right at the beginning that we are live at Bravery Studios in Garfield, New Jersey. Shout out to my boy Steve behind the glass, by the way. See, I was so much in tune of giving giving Joe his flowers, and I forgot where I actually was for a second. Yeah, no, but shout out to Joe, shout out to Jersey Media, and definitely shout out to Bravery Studios and everybody else here. Love it. So, but that's actually a perfect segue, because you were talking about possibly doing shrooms and then coming up with the greatest poem ever. So that's a nice segue, because that is like your number one art right there.
Yes.
You're known as a poet.
Yes.
And so let me give you a little bit of backstory about me. So I'm not a poet myself. I've never been a poet, but I've always been a fan of writing things down, because one of the things that we tend to do on the show here is that we get raw, we get real and personal. And one of the things that is unpopular, that like it's kind of embarrassing for me to admit, but it is a part of my life, where there was a time in my life where I had a habit of talking to myself. And a lot of people looked at me like I was this weird guy, like what the hell is wrong with him, this, that, and the third. But I think I kind of alluded to due to the fact that I didn't have anybody to talk to, but I needed to get all these things out. Right. So my mother suggested that instead of actually speaking out loud, why not just write them down? So then I used to keep a whole bunch of notebooks, and I wouldn't even write poetry. I just wrote every little fucking thing that I could think of that was in my mind through paper. And then that eventually led to me making music. So I was actually rapping at one point back in the early 2000s and mid 2000s, and it just never went anywhere. And that's why I found out where podcasting was my passion. But with you, how early did poetry start with you personally?
The third grade.
The third grade. Okay.
That's when I won my first poetry contest.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like Earth Day.
Okay.
And it's like, you know, you always have like those like pivotal moments like in your artistry that you never forget. Like my first poetry contest.
Right.
You know, and like, you know, the first time I went to an open mic, and, you know, just like the spotlight moments that you'll never forget. So I always just loved the entertainment world. Singing, well, I was a singer before I was a poet.
Okay.
But essentially, like, so in the third grade, I was always a writer, right? So then I grew up, and then I found out about singing, and I'm just like, I fell in love with singing, and I would write music. And I was actually in a group when I was like, I want to say 18, 19, called Show Off. Fucking show off. And
self-explanatory.
it was like, you know what, I think it was when Jay-Z was president of Def Jam. That's when that was
like in 05 to like 09.
Yeah.
Around that.
And I remember we had a manager. It was me and my two friends, and we had a manager in Harlem, and he actually brought us to the Def Jam building, and we met Jay-Z and Tata, his right-hand man, and everything.
Right.
And just like, I just saw that the industry just wasn't for me. It's gate kept by men. And I just had horrible experiences that I was like, nah. Because, like, you know how some people say, I'm willing to do anything for my dream. That is not my narrative. There's a lot of shit I would not do for my dream. Like, I'm not going to sacrifice my morals and, like, my dignity for a dream. Then that's not my dream. If your dream causes you to lose yourself, that's not your dream.
And it's also, it makes sense, because now we live in a time where it's a lot more progressive and women can get their voices out there. But during that time, it was impossible. Like you as a woman, listen, I mentioned before that I tried to do music back in the 2000s, and it was difficult for me, and I'm a man. So due to the fact that you're a woman, I can only imagine how much harder it was for you. And you were probably subject to a lot of things that you were not willing to do, which the sad thing is, I'm pretty sure that there's plenty of other women that at the time that did it, and sadly their careers never went anywhere. They got used and then just thrown away like yesterday's trash.
But I always knew, you know, since I'm a writer, I kind of wrote this, I don't know what to call it, but kind of like a reminder, right? I always told myself, remember your why. If you remember your why, you're not going to be detoured, and it's going to be you're going to be really hard to be influenced the wrong way. Because if whatever somebody's trying to influence you with, or, you know, that it's negative and it doesn't align with your why, then that shouldn't be in your path, you know?
Right.
So I had this thing written where it's like my why, you know, this is what I'm doing this for, you know, so I never forget and don't lose track. Like, this is not for the money. This is not for the fame. I have a fucking story to say, and the world has to hear it. And remembering my why is what gave me the strength to like say no and not give in to like all the bullshit that I, had to confront. And it made me say, you know what? I don't want to do this.
Right.
This isn't it. I can still be an artist, but I can find another path of artistry. And then I fell in love with poetry. And it's more pure. And it's not as tainted as the singing and the music world.
Mm-hmm.
And I fell in love with it. And here I am, Starborn
Right.
the poet.
And you just said something right there where you said, I have a story and I have to get it out there. And everything is how you say it, because usually anybody else in your position would say, this is my story and I want to get it out there. That's almost like saying that you're trying with the intention of possibly failing. You're saying it's like, I have to get my story out.
It's going to be out there.
There you go.
There is no doubt.
So that goes to show that you're going at this full throttle.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I quit my corporate job to give this a whole thing.
All right, hold on. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I got my notes and everything in my head and everything, so we're gonna get to all of that. But yeah, but that is actually that's actually very brave of you, because in these really hard times right now, especially with like the economy and a whole bunch of shit going on right now, it's actually even more brave to do something that bold and go ahead and pursue your dream as hard as you can.
This is when the world needs it the most, my art.
Mm-hmm.
Poetry heals.
Right.
This is the time for artists. This is the time because art heals, like, deeply.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like regardless of what, my biggest fear in life isn't death. It's what if. And I don't want to die wondering what if. So this sacrifice is damn worth it.
Are you a person that fears death?
No.
Okay.
I don't think that I don't believe in death. As far as like, I don't believe I'm a person. I'm a soul with a body. And I'm energy. And energy can't be created or destroyed. It could only be transferred. So I'm not going anywhere.
Now that's actually an interesting point to bring up, because let me expand on it a little bit. So maybe I'm a little bit hard-headed, or maybe I'm a little too old school, but I noticed that we're living in a time now where everybody's all about, vibes and energy transfers and so on and so forth. And to be quite honest with you, I'm going to sound like the get off my lawn kind of guy, but get off my fucking lawn. That kind of sounds a little hippie-ish to me, for lack of a better term. So maybe it's just me being closed-minded or being hard-headed. I mean, I'm a Taurus at the end of the day, but it's kind of hard for me to understand how people actually feel these energy transfers and talking about their spirit and their vibes and everything. I guess I've just never been put into that position, or maybe I'm hard-headed, or because here's another thing, and I don't want to get religious here, but I don't want to say that I don't believe in God, but I feel like I have to really see God with my own eyes to really make me fully believe. I want to believe he exists. I do want to believe that there's a higher being out there. I'm holding out hope that there is, but I ultimately don't know until I actually see it. Or if I'm not able to see it, let something strike down on me and make me feel it. Let me feel the Holy Ghost or whatever people want to talk about. Now, this is not going to be that kind of podcast, but you get where I'm kind of coming from.
I do.
So I guess personally for you, when it comes to your vibes and your energies and putting your soul out there and so on and so forth, how does that affect you? Like, where does that come from?
Well, I was religious. I grew up Catholic, but that just wasn't my route. I read the Bible 3 times, and this is not for me. It's very contradicting, and it doesn't make sense. And
Right. Because, not to cut you off, because I've been to a church plenty of times in my life, and I've never felt what people claim that they feel.
Me neither. Actually, I throw up. I get nauseous.
I get
feel
bored.
very uncomfortable in churches.
I don't get uncomfortable. I get bored. I want to go to sleep.
I get uncomfortable, and I just don't. Everybody knows, if you invite me to your wedding, I'm going to the reception. I don't go to churches. It's not my thing. And with vibes, I'll explain that to you. It's frequency, right? The radio has a frequency, and it emits that frequency, right? And so you feel that. And even with certain music, right? Some music makes you happy. Some music makes you sad. When you meet somebody, some people that you meet them, first 2 seconds, you have this feeling like they don't give me a feeling like they're a good person, right? That's that vibe that people are talking about. It's that feeling. It's that gut feeling. It is your intuition. The problem is that in America, we are not taught to pay attention to our intuition or our bodies. Religion teaches us to look outside and listen to somebody else. It teaches us that God is external. I believe that God is the totality of everything. To me, God is a verb, not a noun. It's not a man. It's not a woman. It is the totality of the universe and every galaxy that ever existed and everything all at once. We are all God living itself.
Interesting.
And that's what I believe in.
And how did you get to that moment? Because you said that you were religious at one point. You read the Bible 3 times and so on and so forth.
I was like in a freaking cult.
Okay.
Like I've experienced, because I needed, to me, I'm
like JW?
It was, no.
Okay.
It was some other, like, it was some, like, Asian cult. Like, man, I got myself into, like, wild shit. And I'm just, like, but I'm a seeker, you know? I'm a seeker of truth. Things have to make sense to me for me to, you know, believe them without reasonable doubt. So I delved into, you know, Muslim. I read the Quran. I really went in. And my thing is, for me to determine and use my discernment, right, I actually have to do the research, right, and find out, well, how does this come together? And in the way that it comes together, does that make sense to me? How does that feel to me? And out of everything, I took from everything that I learned. And this is my conclusion of what I believe in. Is there other people that believe in my concept? Yo, if they hit them up on social media. Hit me up on social media, Starborn with 3 N's and an underscore, and let me know if you think like me, and let's start a little club.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But what I like what you were mentioning there is that if there's other people that think like you, they hit you up. But if there's other people that think that you're, you know, what you're saying is kind of BS, or they need a little bit more info, or they're kind of on the fence about it, you're not going to be judgmental towards them. It's like, it is what it is, you know?
No, I mean, like, my thing is, I'm not in the business of convincing anybody of what I believe in. I don't need validation to know my truth. That's my truth. And in speaking of my truth, if other people are aligned with it and or gravitate to it and ask me questions, I will answer them.
But that's my problem with organized religion, and we'll put a bow on this real quick because I want to get to other stuff. But I just want to say that that's my problem with organized religion, among other things. But the main factor right there is that if you don't actually believe to a T what they follow, then you're
going to hell.
Yeah, basically, like
weird as shit.
Like I'm pretty sure that there's some people out there that think I'm gonna go to hell because I just said fuck.
Right. Like, ay Dios.
Yeah, exactly.
Nah,
but anyway,
heaven and hell is right here in your brain. That's it.
Yeah, hell yeah. But anyway, so moving on now. So I wanted to go back to poetry for a little bit. So back when you were in the earlier days, when you said you started in the 3rd grade. Where was that moment, that spark that hit for you that this is what you want to do? Because, like, I'll give you an example to kind of contextualize it a little bit. And I've told this on my show plenty of times before, so, you know, excuse me to the audience. But I remember watching Die Hard with a Vengeance and True Lies. And when I saw the behind-the-scenes featurettes of those, that's when I told myself, that's what I want to do with my life. I want to direct. And I finally got the opportunity to direct a TV show a couple of months ago. And so, but my point that I'm getting at you is that, like, there was that spark for me that made me realize that that's what I wanted to do. Where or what was that spark that made you want to be a poet?
So, I was really young in the 3rd grade. So, like, I really didn't know I wanted to be a poet, you know what I mean? But what I did do was talk a whole lot in class, like a whole freaking lot.
Were you voted like most talkative in class or something?
and I was voted class clown too, because the shit I used to do was crazy. Like, I'm a big ass kid. Like, I'm 37, but I'm really 7. So, you know, I basically talk so much, and similar to your story, like, I would talk to myself too. Like, I had wild imaginary friends. I've always had like a lot to say, and not everybody wants to hear me yap all the time. So when they first introduced, you know, writing, and they announced this, like, it's Earth Day, we're gonna have, you know, a contest. They were teaching us like how to write haikus and like the different, you know, types of poems.
Right.
And I'm here writing these poems, and I'm like, oh. So now my cousins, right? They are the ones that introduced me to the world of hip hop. And you know, you had Def Jam poetry.
I remember that. Well, with Mos Def?
Right, with Mos Def.
I used to love that show.
I was obsessed. When I was put onto that, I was like, hold on. So you mean to tell me that I could put words on paper and I get to talk on stage and mad people get to listen to me? Oh, this is for me. Like, I was like, oh, this is cool.
By any chance, do you remember that episode? I forget who said it, but I just remember he had a poem about how much he loved titties.
don't remember.
Oh my God, it was such an amazing and
Now
hilarious poem.
I'm gonna look for it now.
It all had to do with a woman's breast, like the way that he expanded on it and talked about it. It was creative and hilarious.
Yeah.
I definitely recommend it. I don't know who said it, but if I find that, I'll put the link in the description or something.
Oh my God, you have to. That's amazing. But yeah, like I was like, the teacher was explaining, and she's like, you guys have to get up and speak your poem in front of everybody. You're gonna be judged. And I'm like, I get to speak? And everybody has to listen to me? I was like, whoa. So I got really excited.
So you never had that stage fright?
No.
Wow.
When I was
That's
young,
when you know that you're meant to do something.
Well, when I was young, it was just like very, listen, I've been like crazy since I was a child. So kindergarten, never forget this. You know how they have show and tell, right?
Yeah.
So when I was little, being that I wanted to be a singer first, I used to turn my shirt inside out and grab my mom's hairbrush. And I used to dance and sing in the mirror, and I had a name for myself. My name was Marina Carrasco, because I grew up watching soap operas with my mom, and Channel 41, Spanish is my first language. And Gloria Trevi was like the Spanish singer who had this song called Voy a traer el pelo suelto, and it was like about your hair. So in kindergarten, for show and tell, usually, these little American kids bring something. My show and tell was myself. So I freaking like put my shirt inside out and brought my freaking brush. My mom got that call like, listen, your daughter can't be out here doing all that with her shirt.
Oh my God.
My mom had to pick me up. Like, mira, tú no puedes estar. I'm over here like performing. Everybody's like, what the hell? That's not a show and tell. But I just wanted to do what I wanted.
It was all show, no tell.
Basically. So now here I am, third grade, and I'm like, oh, this is my moment. And I remember the poem. It was about Earth Day. And it just like.
You remember it verbatim?
Yeah. It was.
You know what we got to do?
We got to. It was short. It was trees, grass, and so many things. Falls, winters, and beautiful springs. Creatures in the ocean and some in the sea. They're all friends to you and me. So please stop polluting and hurting our land, or else this earth will not be grand. We all need to keep on improving and sharing the earth, the future we all are preparing. And that won me my first poetry contest.
Can we get a round of applause real quick, Steve? Yeah.
That was my little third grade poem on Earth Day. It was so cute.
That also goes to show how diverse you are, because you just had a poem at third grade when you were talking about the earth. And then a couple of weeks ago, we hopped in an IG Live and you were talking, you created a poem about fellatio.
Yeah. I'm so diverse. I mean, I could write about anything. I have a book next to my nightstand, and it gives me a topic, like a word, and then 5 big words that I have to use in that poem. So
do you consider yourself a wordsmith?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love words. I love writing, but I hate the English language.
How so?
The English language is the most disgusting language that ever existed.
And yet we're speaking it right now.
We're speaking it. And it sucks. If I could speak Spanish and just not speak English, I would.
Well, unfortunately, I never really learned how to speak Spanish like that. It's almost like I'm a Puerto Rican, because I'm half.
Puerto Rican? Oh, yeah. Stop.
I'm actually half Colombian and half Costa Rican.
Oh wow.
Yeah, a lot of people think I'm Puerto Rican, but I'm not. I'm the other Rican, but I'm really a Puerto Rican. So I always joke around that my parents, specifically my mom, only spoke to me in Spanish when I did something wrong. When she spoke to me in Spanish with that angry voice, I was like, yeah, I fucked up.
Yeah, like nah, I gotta hide somewhere. I remember just my mom's voice would immediately just trigger a panic attack. But it's because I knew she found something that I did, because I was a very mischievous child. Like,
so was I.
I was bad.
I was a very rebellious kid.
Me too.
But a lot of it was due to the fact that, and this kind of goes back to what I was talking about where I always used to talk to myself because I felt like I had nobody to talk to. And when I wasn't talking to myself, I feel like I was lashing out because I needed to. It's almost like my dog. My dog is a very hyperactive energetic dog, and a lot of it's due to the fact that he needs to get that energy out because he has so much pent up energy because of his breed that I have to, help him get it out.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happened with me as a kid, where I had all this pent up energy and all this anger, and I just didn't know where to direct it, so I would lash out.
Yeah.
And me being the oldest of three, I was always in that position where any mistakes that I did, my younger siblings learned it, so they know not to do what I did.
Right.
And then that's why they've actually been able to elevate in certain ways better than I have, because I feel like they learned from my mistakes. But yeah, I was a wild child as well. There was even at one point where I was even called the devil's advocate by one of my parents.
Oh my God.
We laugh about it now, but it wasn't funny back then. Yeah. Instead of Jason, they should have called me Damien or some shit.
Oh my God, that is crazy.
Yeah, but that's also just a symptom of like parents don't know how to handle their kids. Yeah. Especially when they're very young. Because I don't know if you have children yourself.
No.
Yeah, me neither. At least
I'm
not that I
a
know
mom.
of.
I said that on Joe's show, and I didn't notice when I watched it, because they asked that, and I'm like, I'm not a mom.
Oh damn.
I was like, I'm proud. I'm not a mom. No. I wouldn't mind having children, but the way I want to have children, I mean, listen. There's a reason why I don't have children, because I'll be in jail. I can't. First of all, I don't want to have children in a hospital. I don't want to have no doctor touching, no latex gloves touching my baby before I do. And the way they birth children in America is horrible.
Basically, you want to birth your child like a pilgrim.
Not like a pilgrim, like the way you're supposed to. Like my ancestors, like think about it. They have women. If you're birthing a child, don't you think that it would be easier to be vertical so that gravity can help you birth your child instead of laying horizontal on a fucking bed? Like Western medicine to me makes no fucking sense. So I want to be, when I birth a child, if I have children, it's going to be in my house in a fucking blow up tub with a fucking doula. Because ain't no way I'm going to be in a freaking hospital.
Excuse me. I can't really speak on that because I don't have any children myself. So, and I certainly don't conceive them. So, but anyway.
Imagine why not.
I'm sorry.
I'm like, imagine. You just said that you can't conceive it, but I'm like, imagine why not? No, in this world, they're incubating kids now. You know that in China, it's horrible.
I mean, I didn't know that, but it doesn't surprise me.
Like they're growing kids in like little incubators. It's like scary, the shit we're about to live in the next 3 years.
Well, let me ask you this. Where do you look up all this shit? Because listen, I'm not a conspiracy theorist by any stretch of the imagination. Matter of fact, I've even gone on record as saying that this new generation of quote unquote conspiracy theorists are not real conspiracy theorists. Because I remember real conspiracy theorists actually used to read books. They used to do their homework. They used to take all the evidence and data and everything and put it together, and then they figure out. Now it seems like a conspiracy theorist, you know what qualifies to being a conspiracy theorist here in 2023 going to 2024? Sitting on the toilet, taking a shit, and looking up something on YouTube. Automatically, you're now a conspiracy theorist.
So I research. I'm a reader. Like, I love to research. So everything that I put out there, it's because I did my due diligence. Now, I'm not going to tell you, obviously, like, there's a lot of information on the internet.
Right.
But what you do is you research that. So if I come across new information that somebody posted, I can tell, like, if they don't give me a reference and they don't say, oh, this is where I get it from, a footnote where I can go and certify that this is actual true things, I'm not going to listen to it. I don't listen to people's freaking opinions on things. I listen to the people that give me the footnotes and say, okay, this is coming from this book, or this is where I got my information. Otherwise, I'm not going to listen to it. And also, this is stuff that I have been reading from years. I knew that the stuff that's happening now was going to happen like 7 years ago because I read and because I follow the trajectory of America. So it's like using my intuition and my better judgment and just like the information that I know, things, I connect dots. And it's just like, you're not going to see it because you're not paying attention to it, but I'm very well aware because I have to be aware of everything that goes on around me because that's why I'm a writer, and mostly a poet. So I believe that, conspiracy theories are not theories. They're real. Look at aliens were a conspiracy theory and the government just admitted that they were real. So, you at some point you have to really ask, am I really going to sit here and believe everything that I'm told in the media? Like, people need to be questioned. How come, people don't question TV and question the conspiracy theories. You know, it should be the other way around. Y'all should be questioning the fact that Fox 5 and Channel 4 and CBS somehow are all giving you the same exact news. They all even have, it's like they all even say the same thing. But we live in a huge world with over 9 billion people. And you would think that each network is talking about something different, because there's a lot of things going on in the world. So why is it that all of you are talking about the same exact thing?
I mean, the same thing could also be said about podcasts, because it seems like everybody and their mother has a podcast now, and everybody seems to be almost talking about the same gossip about what they see on the news. Well,
we need to be talking about other shit. Because all we're doing is helping CBS and Fox 5 with their bullshit.
Well, I don't have cable, so they don't have to worry about that.
Me either. Because it's like, for what? I'm not going to pay Verizon when I can just get a Fire Stick. You feel me?
Getting a little plug from Jeff Bezos there. Is that what you're doing?
But yeah, like, I don't believe everything that I hear or read. Mm-hmm. I need to research. It has to make sense to me. You know what I mean? I have to do my due diligence.
Right. Now, you're a little firecracker, as you clearly displayed on the show so far, and the times that we've spoken on the phone or when you're on IG Live or whatever. So with you being said, and you being so staunch on your beliefs and everything that you've researched, naturally you're going to have people that want to give their rebuttals, or they want to have their opinions heard. And you being a firecracker with your personality and everything that you have obtained in your brain, how much of friction do you come across with people because of what your beliefs are and how you come across?
I don't really get a lot of friction. I think the energy that I exude, like, where I get a little bit of friction is because I comment on a lot of people's stuff, and I comment I have like 2 things I commented on. I'm up to like 400 likes on a comment, and I don't even know how many people like responded. That's usually where people rebuttal me, on my comments on other people's stuff. And then but my thing is like, listen, my opinions wasn't made for everybody. And I'm just a person that I don't feel like I need to defend my truth. Like, it's not important for me that you believe it. It's important for me that the people that understand me and do believe it know that, hey, I'm here too, in order to unite the people that do believe what I believe in.
Right. It's
like, I rather choose the path of least resistance, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
I've heard that before.
I don't think that every battle needs to be fought. And especially as an artist and a very opinionated person, it's kind of like, if you can't take the heat, get the fuck out of the kitchen. I am a very opinionated person, and I understand that with that, I'm going to get a lot of shit back. The thing about it is that I don't fucking care. And if, like, you don't care, like, I have a wise man once taught me, who cares less wins. And that's been my motto.
I love that. Round of applause real quick, Steve, for that one. So there we go. Yeah. So staying on with the subject of poetry, though. So obviously you mentioned earlier that you have a story and you have to get it out there. And that's going to fall into line with everything that you're doing, whether it's acting, whether it's poetry, whether it's maybe singing if you want to do it again, or whatever may be out there that you haven't touched on yet, because you have a lot of life to live and you never know what's going to come across. But staying on with poetry real quick. You have written so much throughout your entire life. Now, hypothetically, if it was all said and done with you, which is the poem of yours do you want to be remembered for everybody to know?
Take Me Back.
Okay.
That's the story of Starborn. And every time I perform that poem, somebody cries in the audience. Because, I mean, when I wrote the poem, I cried, because it's like, and I know that when I say it, it touches a lot of people that share my, my experience. So it's important to me that with my words, I shift perceptions and souls and save them, possibly,
Right.
That's what I do it for. To actually spread light and be a positive force in the world. You know, I don't care about fame. I don't care about the money. I just want to bless people. Rick Ross, he said one line, I'll never forget, in one of his songs. He said, however many people you bless, that's how you measure success. And I really believe that.
I can see right now you kind of talking about it. It's even getting you a little bit emotional right now as we speak. So this really means a lot to you. And yes. I'm also of the mindset that when somebody is an artist, especially when they're performative, it's not so much in what they write, it's how they say it.
Right.
And I haven't seen you perform it. I haven't even heard it yet, but I'm hoping that you'll share with us right now.
Absolutely.
But before you do, I just want to say that probably the reason why people get emotional is because not so much of what you wrote down, it's how you're expressing it through your action and through your voice. Mm-hmm. So real quick, if you don't mind, take us away with this beautiful poem that you will love to be remembered for forever.
A little more than a year ago, I was home, a place that brings me comfort, but I seldom roam. An island surrounded by water where Yemaya chose me as her daughter. I sometimes wonder, if I had stayed, could I have gone farther? And when the decision was made for me, I can feel the incision pain in me, the detachment of a piece of me, the earth being pulled from underneath my feet. I was just a fucking baby. 2 years old when I first felt deceit. See, I was raised to believe the American dream, and since then that lie still haunts my dreams, because nothing here is what it seems, and my tongue still squeams from the wax of infected fruits, missing the ones that I picked from the roots. Who knew here you had to fight for real fucking food? I had the sun all year round. Here they gave me pills to balance my mood. Displaced, always feeling like I'm being held hostage and judged by the shrewd. I'm confused. In my country, not saying hi to strangers is rude. And here it's more like, do I know you? I had to grow up extra diligent, being an immigrant raised by immigrants in a country made by racist militants. Damn, baby Rain was just an infant when life changed in an instant, wishing I was old enough to be more resistant to my father's persistence. Maybe then I wouldn't have to question my own fucking existence. Brought to a country where you have to learn English to get anything finished, and then get judged for speaking my native tongue. See, my voice, they've diminished, or tried to, because now I use their language to speak truth, making them aware that their lies can't sink through. See, I can grow the plants that heal you, but that hurts the faces printed in blue. They tried to raise me to raise the red, white, and blue, but the whites make my people bleed red in blue suits, not knowing that my blue is a stronger hue, coming from the Orisha herself, mother of the ocean blue. So let me tell you the story of the little girl that was taught she couldn't, but always knew she would. But still I sit here confused. I still question my father for the decision he took, because why did he choose this lane? We were already living on higher planes when he made us take a plane to land on a country founded by the fucking deranged, where they make the estranged feel insane for not being the same. Home of the melting pot? No, it's where they burn our identities to flames. And to think Papi came here to find a better way. One day, his ears will hear the words that fill my page, and that is when I'll say, was it worth it, Papi? Was it worth all that they took away? Take me back.
Wow. Really, really powerful stuff.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. So, obviously, I could see it even takes a lot out of you right now emotionally. Yeah. So if you don't mind me asking, like, when did you write that? And what was it that I guess you kind of explained it in the in you know what your performance right now, but what would you say was like the last straw that you were like, fuck it, I'm putting this down on paper and this means the world to me?
I felt like I wanted to I wanted people to connect with me, and the best way to connect with an artist is to tell like how you came to this world, you know? Like, well, how was this artist born? Starborn, how were you born? You know? What was your journey here? And, you know, what better way to start than from the beginning? The very beginning, you know? I'm 37 years old. I came here when I was 2. It's been a struggle. I had to grow up before I had to, because I had to make sure that I was the translator for my parents.
Right.
Watching my parents be discriminated against, watching all the shit, you know, like going on in this world is hard. And I wrote that poem. I remember I was dating somebody. He's actually like one of the world's greatest poets. Shout out to Willis Ryder. I actually wrote that poem in Oklahoma on the floor of his bedroom. And yeah.
I mean, that's kind of serendipitous if you think about it, for lack of a better term, because you wrote that on the floor. That was probably when you were at your lowest point and you needed something from your art to rise up. And look where it's gotten you now.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. No, that was, I really can't wait for this episode to be out, even though you guys are going to be watching it by the time this comes out, because I feel like, I feel like that you just got all of that out there. And being able to share it with the world, with my platform and every other platform that you're going to do, I think I can honestly see right there that this is something that I'm certainly going to remember you for. I don't know if I can't speak for the rest of the world, but I know that as long as I know Starborn, this is what I'm going to remember you for a very long time.
Thank you so much. I
absolutely.
appreciate it.
Yeah, so sticking just a little bit more with poetry here while we still got a little bit of time.
Yeah.
So, and you know, also to show how diverse you were.
Of course.
So we were me and my friend Kim, shout out to Kim from PA.
Yeah.
We were very fortunate to have you on an IG Live that we do every Wednesdays and Thursdays every now
Y'all
and
caught
then.
me in a good moment. Yo, I've hit this mic 27 times.
No problem. But you were probably, you know, hanging out with Mary Jane, so to speak.
Yes, I was.
But you know, you were feeling nice. You know, you just got out of the gym, your endorphins was all up and everything. But you also happen to share with us an amazing poetry that involves fellatio.
I did.
And I'm wondering, I'm not even saying this, but I can only imagine how much DMs you got that night afterwards.
Yo, listen, when I know I'm gonna perform erotica at any like open mic, I have to take like either some male cousins. I'd have you mean because it gets a little crazy. I'm done performing. I walk outside and I got like a swarm of bees following me, and I'm like, yo, I need security at this point, like. But it's my art. I think like we all come from sex, right?
Correct.
And I always say that, you know, sexual energy is creative energy.
Now that I can believe. Now I don't know if that's just me, you know, being a male.
No, it is. No, that's the truth. Because if you think about it, right, you don't just birth children or, you know, procreate with sexual energy, right? If we use sex to create and multiply, then it is that same energy, if we channel it correctly, that creates the art, right? So when I'm horny, I'll write.
Okay.
So if that makes sense, yeah, like it's kind of alchemy, you know. Artists turn pain into art, but you can turn anything into art. It doesn't have to be pain.
Okay.
So whatever you're feeling, take that energy, hone it in, and then transmute it into something else. And that's what I do.
Well, Jesus, you know, bravo to the man that made you feel like you could actually put all of that craziness on that paper. Now, here's
shout outs to him.
Now, I'm actually debating something in my head right now. I kind of want you to share it with us right now because I love that poem. However, I don't know if I'm being too greedy because I kind of want the exclusive on my show, or if we should save it for something to plug anything that you have coming.
I don't have any open mics just yet because it's the holidays.
Okay.
But after the holidays, I'm gonna go full throttle.
Well, while you're at it, go full throttle right here, first class, second
All
place.
right. Okay. So again, this mic. Do you love me, baby?
I mean, the way you talking, it must.
Right? I do. All right.
All right.
So this poem is titled. It's erotica. So please tell your kids, put them in the other room. This is the time, the only adults. If you guys are watching this, pause the YouTube.
Yeah, earmuffs.
Earmuffs. Okay.
All right, here we go.
This poem is titled.
Where did my voice come from there?
Yeah, like really, the baritone.
I'm sorry. Continue.
Oh my God, no, it's okay. Okay, so this is called lips plus tongue minus teeth equals head. I surrender to it, down on my knees, because by its taste I am influenced. Smooth to the touch of my tongue, I am prone to it. You see, I talk to it. Oral conversations while I'm tracing through its veins, gliding with my mouth up and down, and I'm in love with it, as if it were my life supply. Squeezing the head, sucking the tip dry, I pause. I look into your eyes. Let my mouth drip on the tip, then I slurp it back inside. See, it is mine because it indulges me. Now watch as I swallow its perfect consistency. See, now it's like you live in me, but like an addict at her peak, it's not enough for me. My saliva trickles down, worshiping the two that lie beneath, grasping your hard wood, but shh, close your eyes for me. Feel as I take the power from your knees. As I cock back to grasp air, I slide it in and let it choke me. It glistens, wet, provoking me. Baby, breathe. I have mastered the skill of pleasing it because it pleases me. It's the natural equation of my oral fixation, and as long as you're in my presence, my mouth salivates, forcing me to repeat this demonstration.
Wow. Awesome. Bravo.
Thank you.
First class, second place, OnlyFans coming soon. No, I'm kidding.
Coming soon to a theater near you.
All right, well, bravo. I'm actually very happy that you shared your little bit of poetry here.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so we got a little bit of time, so I just want to get this out real quick. So I feel like I could talk to you for hours and hours.
Me
but
too.
But you know, who's to say that you can't come back on the show?
I'm saying you could.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Right.
I'm here with it. Where you at with it?
Exactly. All right, but we got a little bit of time though, so I just wanted to get into something real quick. So there is something that you and I are actually we have in common.
Acting.
Yes, and the funny thing is that I mentioned before that directing was my thing. And it's still kind of my thing, but now all of a sudden I've started to get into the acting thing, which is something that I never pictured me doing. The only thing that I was thinking about doing was just voice acting, because I don't know if I wanted to get my face in front of the camera.
Right.
And I've been told plenty of times, and even I tell myself I have a face for radio. So, but anyway, enough about me, because everybody has seen the show and they know my story and everything, and I'll tell it all about it off camera. But you're the guest here, so what is it that got you into acting in the first place? Because I also know that you already have a TV show out there called Zooboro.
Yes. Shout out to Myers and Capnels, the director and the writer. Zooboro. Season 1, 2, and 3 is out, so y'all better catch that on YouTube. Mm-hmm. So funny story. I was performing at I was featured at an open mic, and Cap, the director of Zooboro, was the one that was filming that open mic feature.
I see.
And he was like, "You're amazing. Have you ever thought about acting?" And I'm like, "No, because I really never thought about acting." Me, how animated I am. I never said to myself, "Oh my God, I want to be an actress." Never in my plans. And like, nobody's ever asked me that shit. So I'm like, I was fucking floored. I was like, you know what? No, but yeah, I want to do that.
See, that's exactly what happened with me too.
Exactly what happened to me.
Exactly.
Like I was like, wait, but yeah, Yeah. Matter of fact, let me do it.
That's what happened with me because when the opportunity came for me, I was like, man, I don't know about. I thought about voice acting, but I don't know about actual acting. But I was like, you know what? Fuck it. It's an opportunity. I'm not gonna let it pass me by.
Yeah.
Apparently they see something in me that I don't. Why not run with it? So I did it, and now I'm actually doing more acting than directing. But you know what? It's a foot in the door.
Exactly.
And I'm enjoying it.
Listen, you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
You are freaking phenomenal. And don't freaking stop, because you just never know where life takes you, you know?
Right.
And now we're filming Zoobird the movie.
Oh, snap.
So it's going to get a little crazy. My character is crazy. I'm a crooked cop.
Again, another thing we have in common. I'm playing a crooked cop already.
You too?
Yes, in two projects.
That is insane.
You want to know the funny thing also is that in one day I got 2 calls from 2 different people on 2 different projects, and they have nothing to do with each other. They're completely separate projects. But I feel like I'm getting typecast. They're both crooked cop roles.
Oh my god. I think this is a synchronicity. I think.
Great word, by the way.
We need to you need to talk to your people.
Tell your friends to get with my friends, and we could be friends.
Wait a minute, but you know what? Let me tell you something. In Zoobird, they're looking for somebody to play my father.
Damn, do I look that old, yo?
Yo, it's not that you look old, because you could put makeup and stuff to make you look older. But
oye, viejo.
That's
Venga aquí.
Viejo. But I'm just saying.
That's the only Spanish I know at this point.
I'm putting it out there. We could help each other out, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I think acting is I fell in love with it so much because it's a place where I could another place where I could unload all of this energy, and it gives me a chance to be super animated and get into character and go crazy, you know.
Yeah. But you know what? Not just you and me, but my boy Steve behind the glass. I actually put him in the TV show that I directed. He had a little bit of a cameo going on. He didn't say anything. He didn't have any dialogue, but he let his presence be known.
Shout out to Steve.
Yeah. And seeing that beautiful beard of his on the big screen, that was awesome.
I love it.
Yeah. So, any idea when Zoobird the movie is coming out? Like, did you guys start filming it already or no?
Yes, filming is in process.
Okay.
We are. I believe that they're gonna come out with it in the new year. 2024 is gonna come out. Yeah.
All right.
Definitely 2024.
And I know that you have other things going on right now, but you're contractually obligated not to speak about it.
I cannot speak about. I am going to be filming another movie, and y'all are gonna know. It's coming. It's in the works.
All right. I love it. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to yours too.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll definitely, cover all of that. Yes, absolutely. So we're about to close out this episode in a little bit. Like I said, I feel like I could talk to you for hours, but we'll continue this in other episodes in the future. But before we go, I just have one more question that I want to ask you. I ask everybody this, but I'm going to flip it this time around. Okay. So the question that I ask everybody when they come on the show is, if they were to make a movie on your life, which actor or actress would you like to see portray your character and why? However, you're already in the actor sphere. I think I just made up that word now.
I love it. I'm stealing it. Actor sphere.
Yeah. So if they're making a movie out of Starborn, your life story, who is your favorite director that you think would tell it perfectly?
Oh my God. Okay. Fuck. Spike Lee.
Why did I know that was going to be the answer? That was
Spike Lee. You feel me? Yo, Spike. Baby.
Yeah, go Knicks, baby.
Give me a call. Give me a fucking call, Spike. Spike it up.
Yeah. I like that. Spike it up.
Spike it up, Spikey. Call me.
Love it. All right. Thank you so much for coming through. This is a lot of fun.
I had so much fun. This is the best podcast ever.
Oh, thank you. You heard it here first.
You feel me?
Yeah. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this episode of First Class, Second Place. Thank you so much to my guest, Starborn, for coming through here. Anybody want to give a shout out to before we close out?
Oh, my God. I want to give a shout out to Myers Cop Nails, Willis Ryder. Y'all going to follow him on Instagram, too. I want to give a shout out to Cynthia. I want to give a shout out to Esther and Ashley and my mama. Shout out to my mama. All right, that's it. I'm done.
All right. And one more time, where can they find you on social media?
Oh, yes. You can find me on Instagram as Starborn with 3 N's and an underscore. You can catch me on YouTube and the series Zoobird. Please watch it. And stay tuned for the movie.
All right, I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on this episode of First Class, Second Place. You can find me at Jason Enrique _ on Instagram, TikTok, Twix, Threads, Snapchat, anything. Yeah, anything that's social media, just Jason Enrique _. Follow me on YouTube. Don't forget to like, subscribe. This has been the episode, and thank you so much for coming through here. I can't thank you enough for coming through here. All right. Thank you very much, Steve, for all the hard work that you're doing here. Live from Bravely Studios. This is the First Class, Second Place podcast. We out.